Welcome back to our slanted episode here of Ask Dan Anything. I'm Dan Munro, confidence coach, founder of Brojo, and general douchebag. And I've got a question here from my man Clark. And Clark, he asks about sugar. Now, before I go into this, I really want to point out I'm not a nutritionist, and I'm not going to be answering this question on a nutrition level, but we are going to be talking about sugar and what it represents. So here's Clark's question. What's your take on sugar? He asks. I've heard you mention it a few times in your interviews and videos. I have a bit of a sweet tooth. I never had a sweet tooth until I quit drinking alcohol 27 years ago. I developed one big time since, and in some ways, I'm sure I get a dopamine boost from consuming sugar. The way I look at it, it's not personally destructive like alcohol was to me at one time, though I admit I do crave sugar. Now, like I said, I'm not going to talk about this from a nutrition point of view because I'm not the guy to be talking about that. Yeah. But what I will talk about is coping mechanisms. So sugar is one of mine. I know that if I irrationally seem to crave sugar, like I'm not hungry, I don't need an energy burst physically, but I just have this like instant deep need for sugar, that I'm stressed. It's as simple as that. It only comes up when I'm stressed. I've had different coping mechanisms throughout the years, though sugar has been really from the beginning, it's always been there. I've had alcohol, I've had drugs, weed for a long time, even binging on television shows. These are all forms of trying to escape reality and trying to manufacture pleasurable emotions. And that's the key take on it here. Rather than looking at sugar, look at the whole concept of you trying to manufacture pleasurable emotions, because if that's what you're trying to do, then there must be a reason for it. And it's addressing the reason for it that's the real solution. Your problems with sugar aren't really problems with sugar. They're problems with how you cope with emotion. I went to a seminar with Dr. Russ Harris, not the founder, but a key practitioner in acceptance and commitment therapy. He's a GP that I admire greatly. Author of The Happiness Trap, which I thoroughly recommend. And he talked about, he used to be severely overweight, a massive dude. And when you look at him now, you just can't believe it. He's like a skinny guy. And he said, the problem isn't eating a chocolate biscuit. Sometimes eating a chocolate biscuit is absolutely the most appropriate way to cope with your problems in that moment. Sometimes you just need a little boost. But he said the problem is eating a whole packet of biscuits, or two, which is what he used to do. And this is what we're talking about here, is that when you get to a point where you are okay with so-called negative emotions, with painful sensations, thoughts, beliefs, realizations, worries and concerns, if you're okay to experience those, your desire for sugar and other substitutes for emotion will decrease significantly. The key take on sugar is not that sugar is an issue, though sugar in itself may possibly be an addictive substance. It's why you're using it and when you're using it. So what I'd recommend if you're a sugar binger is the moment that you feel like eating sugar or smoking weed or watching a movie or whatever it is that you do to escape reality and try to manufacture pleasurable emotions, stop and check in. Go, what's happening for me right now? Why do I feel a need to escape reality right now? What emotion am I trying to get away from? And rather than allowing yourself to get away from it, go into it. Stop your work, stop whatever you're doing, start journaling. Write down, what am I feeling right now? I'm just getting a craving for sugar. What's my theory as to why that's happening? Over time, you'll start to see a pattern. Maybe it happens at a certain time of day. Maybe it's in response to confrontations. Maybe it's whenever you think about what you're doing with your life. Maybe it's whenever you've been spending time with your family. There'll be something that prompts you to try and recover emotionally or try to escape emotionally. And it's in dealing with that you'll deal with the coping mechanism. So when I'm dealing with my stress properly, I can safely eat sugar and cut myself off and not have to worry about binging. But if I'm not dealing with my emotions properly, you better not have biscuits in the house because I'll demolish the whole lot of them. Yeah? So that's my take on that. Sugar's not your issue. Avoiding emotional pain is your issue. Dive into that emotional pain, sort your shit out, and sugar can be a pleasurable treat rather than a crutch. Yeah, I think that's about my take on that. Thanks for your question, Clark. If any more of you have questions like this, send them through to dan@brojo.co.nz, and I will see you guys next time. Don't forget to subscribe. Peace.